And the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural, metaphysical, paranormal. You know, all those things you've been wondering about? Are you ready to go deeper into the realms of the unknown? I hope you've got your walking shoes on, because life is an adventure, and this is the journey. Come on, let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the Journey Radio Show, and I'm Jen Cruz, your host. And hey, we're showing up as the She-Squatchers. So I've got my trusty teammate, Jenna Grover. Hey, Jenna.
Well, hello. Happy Wednesday to everyone.
Hi. And of course, where's Tammy?
Oh, little brat. She's still in vacay.
She missed last week because she was having too much fun in the Florida Keys, and today she's traveling back, so she still can't be with us, but at least she's not having fun on an airplane.
Yes, that's true. That's very true.
I've been looking at her photos of snorkeling and boating and just exploring the Keys down there. I'm like, I need to go there someday.
I know.
Anyway, speaking of Florida, we have a Floridian on the show tonight. We've got Connor Flynn with us. He's originally from Ohio, but he is currently living in Florida. Hey, Connor, are you there?
Yes, loud and clear. Lights, camera, action. I'm glad to be here, too. Like, the stars aligned. There was a meteor shower the other day. I was Bigfoot hunting earlier today. I had quite the encounter, and I'm still coming back to reality from it. So where other place should I be here with, the Midwest legends? So
us, the Midwest legend.
That's so sweet. Say it again. Yes. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of. No, I'm kind of excited to hear more about your adventures. But do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Anything that we didn't get to?
Your background.
Yeah, definitely. I was born in Ohio, right by Lake Erie in Cleveland. So growing up, I always heard of the Ohio Grassman and Lake Erie Monster. It's a cousin of Bessie, South Bay Bessie. And there was a bounty on her head for a while for $100,000 after fishermen went missing. So it's always been in my head, like that paranoia and looking out over my shoulder and over the edge of the boat. And then, it's just gravitated towards strange stuff. I'm a writer and I make music and I love movies. So just a combination of all of that, what's the closest you can get to that in real life, hiking, going to uncharted places and going after these strange monsters and entities and hopefully stepping in other dimensions and really finding out what it's like to be a human on this earth, under the firmament and within the walls. Like, there are thousands of continents, I believe, and crazy monsters, and the Bible is onto some true stuff. Scott Carpenter, Dr. Igor, your guys' past guest, they're onto some stuff. So I'm just, trying to get my foot in the door and spread my words. And I'm glad to be a catalyst in this. I'm the crazy guy with long hair from the comic book shop telling people to watch out for Bigfoot. They might think I'm crazy, but I might be saving lives. I think I'm doing some important work. It's not all Harry and Henderson's. It's like angels and demons and Nephilim and stuff from the sky and under our feet. So it's closer than anybody can even understand, because werewolves and vampires have always been a thing, with us growing up. And people think that's myth, but, go to Louisiana, go to the voodoo capital of the world, New Orleans. You'll see in the Honey Island Swamp that monsters do exist. And, good people around the world, military, police, fire, people like us, responsible adults have had encounters and had strange things. So we need to start, acting like this does exist. And now what? So I don't have any energy for proving stuff, or believing. It's knowing and living and experiencing. Humans can't make up anything. We can only pull from the existence that has already been. So mermaids, Bigfoot, Nessie, the Lake Erie Monster, Pensacola Serpent, Godzilla, every movie ever made has some kind of root in reality. You know, Lord of the Rings based on a true story. The Grinch is a Bigfoot movie. Shrek, Bigfoot movie. Like, everybody thinks it's so crazy and far out, but they worship these prophets that are much stranger than Bigfoot. So, you know, that's me, and that's just the first breath of it. You know, I'm a dragon when it comes to this stuff. Tons of fire.
Nice. I don't suppose you're a Pisces. I'm a Pisces and I'm a believer, and I know a lot of other Pisces are the same way. What is your sign? I'm just curious.
I'm a Virgo, and I think all that is very interesting, but it goes so many different ways. You know how there's different astrological signs for just so many different tribes and communities, you know. So I love it. I love looking into it, but I don't let any of that define me. You know, I could be a Pisces one day when I'm in the water, and I'm a Virgo when I need to be somewhere else, and I'm riding in a Taurus when I'm in my Ford. So, you know, we have to adapt to the stars. We are stars. They're blinking. They're not rocks. You know, they're alive, so we need to be alive. That's what I live and breathe and believe.
Nice. I love your energy. I was gonna say, my gosh, that sounded like a song. If you know, you should be a songwriter, I think, because that would have been a really cool song.
Oh yeah. I've written a handful of songs, thousands of songs. My musician name is C. Flynn, like Connor Flynn with the A on it. I have hundreds of music videos and thousands of songs, and you know, I'm still not on the Grammys, so I guess I'm not pulling the right strings. But I make music that I'm proud of, and then I can play it around a campfire, and it just pours out of me. So I don't have much for the radio or much of that junk, the mainstream stuff. You know, I try to be authentic. So, you know, that only gets me so far, but one step forward, like I said, I'll trek all the way across this world if I have to, you know.
Boy, you're very passionate. I love it.
So if I didn't get pregnant in high school, I probably would have been pretty wild and free, and like my dad said, I was a free spirit, just like my mother.
What are you talking about? You're still a free spirit, Jen.
Oh, but not as free as Connor. Connor, tell them what you did.
Yes. When I got sick of Ohio, I lived in Ohio for like 24 years, and I took the passenger seat on my car, and I referee flag football. And every January is nationals, so I had a gig refereeing nationals, and then I got on couch surfing. It's an app that it's like Facebook for travelers. I made a profile, and the first people that accepted me were this punk rock musical band. And they accepted me in, and it was like 4 people, and they were really into metaphysical stuff and monsters and psychedelics and just cool, fun stuff. And then I needed a place to stay. So they needed a manager for the musical, and they ended up hiring me because I said, I play guitar, I went to college, I write, you know, it all just blended. I was just happy to find somewhere that I could just be accepted. I always wanted to work at the pub and live above the pub. So that was perfect. I lived with the band, I was part of the band, and we meditated every day, went to graveyards, and we played musicals and DIY shows at dingy bars and, you know, haunted places around like the Polk Theater where Elvis performed, and saw giant spiders. It's crazy over there in Central Florida in Polk County. And then a year later, I ended up moving west and staying with my mom. But in the meantime, but between that, we went to California and back and lived on the road couch surfing for the summer. And we stayed in New Orleans, Dallas, Jackson, Mississippi, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, and hunted for tons of monsters. The Mogollon Monster at the Grand Canyon. And we ended in Los Angeles, and we stayed at this dancer's house and slept on the couch, and a couple of us slept on the floor, and we just keep switching off. And you know, the guy was in a Selena Gomez music video, and I was so proud to tell my people back home, I'm staying in Hollywood with the dancer. And you know, everybody's just trying to get there and just trying to hop on the bus for free and, you know, survive the subway home. I saw some crazy things out there, but we had to come back home, and we had some more musicals to perform. But yeah, once the musical fizzled out, I moved to the Panhandle, and right here is sacred territory. Like, my first book is Garden of Eden, the Road Trip of Eden. And around here, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm spiritual. I try to gather things from all over the place. And there's a Garden of Eden trail here, and there's 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible are at that park. And gopher wood, which Noah used to build the ark, is also there, called Terrea. The only place it grows in the whole wide world is right there as well. So there's some crazy anomalies, like a delta breaking into 4 rivers in only 2 places, Siberia and there. And there's a documentary and a bunch of stuff about it. So my journey has led me from, Lake Erie, which is known for UFO sightings, and South Bay Bessie, and then all the way through the Appalachian Trail, through the Tennessee Titans, land, and then to the Florida Swamp in Central Florida was with the punk rock band, and now I'm in, the Panhandle, where we have cliffs and dips and tons of Bigfoot activity and Civil War grounds, unmarked graves everywhere. The ley lines converge. It's like everything was meant to be. It's been really hard the past few years for everybody, but let's just keep moving forward, because you're exactly where you need to be. The creator will give you what you can handle. And if life's hard, that's because you're strong. And I know it's hard because that tunnel gets so narrow sometimes, but hey, it doesn't take much of a light to light up a dark cave, a dark light. It's meant to be. So I'm here navigating this planet every single day in different directions, either through comic books and movies and games, or interviewing very interesting people that have had encounters with hog-nosed bears and giant sloths, and it's so much, and then, chopping it up with people that are pioneers like you guys. And it's so awesome, because I just look at everything as energy. So our energies mixed together. No one in this realm can recreate this. It's meant to be, it's magic. That's as simple as it is. When people are like, oh, is Bigfoot magic or paranormal? Oh, he's supernatural. He's so natural to this earth. He and she are so natural to this earth that they can access the special powers like infrasound, echolocating. They can vibrate their hairs. They have translucent hair, like hollow hair that can blend in. No wonder every picture is blurry. They can access your mind through mind speak. They can access our electronics and make our files go corrupt. They can make our compass spin. They can silence the forest. And all that, it's not very paranormal. Human beings can do all that too if we didn't have all this poison and Wi-Fi and poison in our water, basically. And we're going to fast food and we're just giving our aura, we're just giving it out. If we were closer to Earth, like the Sasquatch people, like all the other creatures and critters out there, they're doing such a good job of staying cloaked. The fairies, the trolls, the gnomes. We can learn from them. They are half human. There's something human about them. They are hybrids. And, people are trying to run around and say it's monkeys and stuff. Come on. Dr. Igor and Scott Carpenter and Janice Carter, well, they'll tell you all about it. Bigfoot can talk. They're human hybrids. There's a ape lady in Russia named Zana that she, reproduced with men, and they have pictures of her son. So I don't think monkeys can reproduce with men. So I think these are human hybrids or something from the sky, and maybe we have something from the sky. But no wonder it's getting swept under the rug, because this is what the Bible's about. This is what the creator, this is what the bridge is all about. So we're doing arguably the most important work in society, and everybody will laugh about that, but they can keep pushing papers and I'll try to find the bridge to people's creator and try to give them some answers, and some of that is me laughing behind saying that, like, oh yeah, it's the most important work, but I don't see much people doing much around anymore, and we're actually going after something. If they're going to deny it's real, and we have this much evidence. My teammate found a giant bone recently, first metacarpal thumb bone. So when people say skeletons aren't real, oh, they've never existed. They never found bodies. First of all, they found 70 of them at Mount St. Helens. They found thousands of skeletons when they were excavating our country with the mound builders. And there's thousands of newspaper articles that talk about that. But there's good people that have giant spears and giant bones that disprove the modern science. Science, schmience, they have nothing these days, because if there's question marks and they don't have the perfect answer, they just say, oh, it's contaminated. Oh, the human contaminated. No, it's a human hybrid. There's angel DNA coming from the sky. It could cure cancer. And best believe they have all this underground. They're curing cancer when they want to with Bigfoot blood. But of course, us on the surface, we have to obey by the law and the rules. And it's crazy. It's like Germany nowadays. It's wild.
Yeah, life is different. Life is very different right now. But good job. I mean, it sounds like you really are looking into a lot of information, things that I've never heard of. So I'm kind of excited to hear more. Jen, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, in the chat room, they were just wondering how old you are.
I'm 28, but energy's never created nor destroyed. So we've always existed. You know, I get picked apart for my age. They're always like, oh, he's this. You know, Jesus was 33. That's what I'll just tell people, you know. But yes, I'm 28. I've been at this my whole life though, and you know, every single day is effort towards existence. And I stay up late. I wake up early. I try to stay fit. I'm into the mind, body, and soul. You know, the spirit, the aura. I'm into frequencies. You know, us as protons and electrons, we could be particle and wave form. Most of the time, we're particle form, but in true moments of our soul, our being, we can become wave form. So I think that's what the Sasquatch people do. That's what the elves do. That's when they can put us in a trance and maybe disappear or enter a portal. You know, there's levels. It's like martial arts. You have to train. There's chiefs and then there's low ones, of course. But yeah, we could become waveform. So that literally opens the door to all possibilities. And we have to stop looking at our body and then it stops right here because we are electricity. We are around us, you know. Our emotions can be felt by people through walls, like 25 feet, emotional discharge. Babies, your children can sense you from across the house. This is basic science. They say trust the science. I'm all about it. Let's go. You know, I'm not all about lining these people's pockets though, because it's time is catching up and evidence is catching up. And I'm a big fan of, you know, Dixie Cryptid and How to Haunt Steve Isdall. And every single day they're uploading stories of people, you know, and then David Paulides missing 401. People are going missing. Yeah. You know, people are hurting and suffering, and then others have the nerve to say this doesn't exist. Like, are you serious? Just because it's not on the news, we know what's on the news nowadays, an agenda. And this doesn't fit it. And Sasquatch has been on the news before, but, you know, they make a joke out of it, of course, and they always try to discredit it. I'm done getting bullied. I'll bully the bully. Like, I got no time for it. There's 900 newspaper articles of giants being excavated around America, around the world, from different decades, different pieces of the newspaper, different newspapers, different publishers. You know, this was just news back in the day before World War II. People need to look into what World War II was about. You know, Hitler had bases in Antarctica. What were they doing in Antarctica? What were they doing with UFOs? It's not just Pearl Harbor. Of course, they make a movie with Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck, and oh yeah, it's Hollywood. I ain't having it. I'm watching these movies. You know, check my Letterboxd account. You know, I'm going to the Georgia Guidestones and I'm reading them saying that they want to, you know, depopulate the earth. Like, I'm going to these places that the conspiracies are about. I'm finding these places. So that's why I wrote the books. That's why I'm pushing so hard, because I get taunted so much. Even at the comic book store, they laugh at me that I believe in Bigfoot. Ha! You don't, you know? I'm sorry you don't. I'm sorry your mind is as small as a peanut and you can't think outside the box. You have to be told by someone in a suit. Well, I could get dressed in a suit right now. You know, we see people in suits can't even drive. They can't park. So let alone tell me about these. I don't have much for it.
Is that a fact? Is that a fact? No, I'm kidding. People in suits cannot park. So people in suits, please do not call us if you can park. We do not want to hear about it. It's not true.
We had a run-in earlier, leaving the Mexican restaurant. A couple people in suits were trying to get out peacefully. You know, we're the rugged ones. Aren't we the ones who aren't supposed to be able to drive? We're the ones like getting out like, hey guys, can we pass through? They're just trying to talk. Oh man, you know, so I don't have much for official people. I was on the dean's list. I won the presidential award in high school. Like, I don't have time. I don't care about people's degrees. I care about what you got inside of you. And most people don't have anything. They have all Jersey Shore. And I read the IMDb trivia of that too. So come on, man. It's silly at this point. Like, if people want to fight me for Bigfoot and ghosts and existence, I'm fighting for the soul, man. I'm fighting for heaven. Like, if you want to, you know, fight blindly with, you know, demons and dark entities, you know, more power to you. But I'm trying to fight for light. You know, I'm trying to save this world, try to save this side before it's going to the end. You know, the Mayans were right. 2012 is living right now. These past few years have just been on a decline. And if you look back at my tweets, I predicted all of it. And you don't want to see what comes next on the predictions either. So we have to stir this ship a different way, because I'm not trying to be Anne Frank, you know, hiding from the world. Like, we need to wake up. And it sounds all silly, but Bigfoot is the truth, like it starts with, oh, Bigfoot's real. We're not the only humans out there. So if there exists, black and white people need to come together. The Asians and blacks need to stop killing each other. Like, there would be no more racism. There would be no more problems if we understood all the existence and reality out there. This world is so big, and there's thousands of continents, and there's giants that are a mile tall, and dragons still exist. So why the heck would we hate people on our own street? It should be us against the world, us against the elements, if anything. And that's why I just try to spread love and hate. I hate. And when people are being bullies, I'll bully them back because I don't care. I've been down this path. I've been homeless. I've been a hobo, a home body. Once you're a hobo and you're home in your own body, no one can really tell you anything on this earth. Like, I'm trespassing? Yeah, right. No, my people are here. My energy's been here. Can't you read it on the signs? It says it all over, that this is mine. This is yours too, but don't claim it. I would never tell you can't come on this land. So, I'm all open to sharing fishing spots and telling people gardening tricks and, showing off my arrowheads, and love it. I'm all about sharing the knowledge,
Sharing is caring. I have a question.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What kind of bone is it that you guys found? You found this giant bone. What kind of bone is it? Has it been identified?
No, it's supposed to get tested soon. We're in the middle of a process with Josh Gates' new show, Expedition X. It's in the permit process, and I don't know if it's going to get pushed to next season or what, but they want to test it. And what we've looked at is the first metacarpal thumb bone, and we've looked it up against skeletons and diagrams. Of course, we've never handed it over to, the Mason Lodge down the street or anything. Like, I've heard way too many stories of people, getting these bones tested and never comes back. It's a joke. Like, I'm not that gullible. I'm not falling for it. Whatever they can give us is not worth it. This is prehistoric. This is our ancestors. This is like finding something you've been looking for your entire life. But it's just it's just a thumb bone. There's skeletons out there, so it doesn't slow us down any bit. We're not kicking back. It pushes us forward. It just got us in the door. We're ready to be talking to Bigfoot on the phone with Igor. We know they exist. We know we're related to them. Now what? And that's why we spend so many nights out in the woods, going up until 2 a.m. and trekking and hollering and using unusual methods like meditation, putting our minds in the right spot. And a lot of people are not thinking in the terms of frequency. Even wood knocks, boom, it hits and it does a certain frequency that shoots out to the whole forest. We need to start thinking in terms of energy, 3, 6, 9. Everything will start making sense when you just break it down. It's so much simpler than they make it out to be on these TV shows. But I still enjoy the TV shows too. But sadly, that's what 90% of the population gets of the Bigfoot stuff. They don't hear the 10% that are actually diving into the Scott Carpenter stuff, the mound builders and the DNA studies that have already been done. There's over 125 DNA studies collected by their group, like 11 by Scott, blood, hair, saliva. Most of it comes back unknown father, human female. And these ancestry of these female come from Asia, South America, Jewish women, Native American women. It is so crazy to think that. I hope it happened naturally. Somehow there was like a loving bond and not kidnapping and forced stuff. But, looking at Missing 401, there's definitely been some stuff that points in the direction of them using humans. They kidnapped poor little Denny Martin. Cullen Finnerty, he was an NFL player, 6'4", said 2 guys were chasing him. He was the toughest quarterback in college football. I think a Bigfoot killed him. Henry McCabe, there's a voicemail of him being attacked, and you can hear the samurai chatter in the background. Oh, man, it's sad, and then people are like saying it doesn't exist. Watch the Patterson-Gimlin footage. They're clear as day, an 800-pound creature, and she has breasts, and she might have been pregnant at the time, and you could see the sun go off her skin and glistening. You can see the muscles moving. That's authentic. But then that's when you go deeper in. There's more to it. Was there a massacre that day? Did they kill 5 of them? Did they kill Patty after? I hope not. I hope not. I truly hope not.
I'm gonna say right there, I know that didn't happen. And the reason is we've met Bob Gimlin, and when he tells those stories, there is no negative energy about it. There is none. None. And I'm a Reiki master teacher. I feel energy, like when people are talking. That did not happen.
And I respect that. I would want to see Bobby Short, you know, the one who wrote the book about the hidden chapter, and she was a respectable female, you know. Sadly, she passed away and she might have got killed. I wish we could go on a time travel and you guys all talk and then you feel her out and then we figure it out. I'm not saying anything. I hope they didn't kill her. I just like at least people knowing that might exist. You know, it is dark and it's a horrible black eye, but if it is true, then, you know, people need to know the truth too. But there's so many stories of them being shot and living too, and them being brought back from the dead, you know, and they have healing abilities. So the end is not the end. Your soul lives forever. So hopefully, you know, these creatures are beyond life and death as well. And I know some of them are. And Patty was a mother defending them. So I believe that. I think that's very cool. You met Bob Giblin too. I would love to meet him too. And I would not bring that up because I know he's very harsh against that, as he should be. You know, he doesn't want to hear that. He's an old gentleman that's done nothing but positive stuff in the last 3 decades. But yeah, it's very interesting stuff, and it's very touchy stuff too. But I hope they're not killing Sasquatches because that's a genocide. These are people. This is not a creature, and I'm against killing them. But there are bad ones that need to be handled if they're taking people. And that's a sad reality because just like people, there's good ones and there's bad ones. And then there's ones that are dealing with maybe a human killed one of their family members long ago or something. And they're dealing with some kind of internal battle. So it always goes deeper. They're not just animals. They're creatures that probably feel more than us.
Well, I definitely think that they're complex, and that I think if you shot one, I think that there's never just one. I think people wouldn't walk out of there if they did that. Because they could, I mean, they're stronger, they're bigger. They could easily hurt us if they wanted to, and they obviously are smart enough not to. So, I mean, I know if I hurt somebody, somebody's going to come checking this out, right? They know that too. So if they hurt this human, more humans will come and see what happened here. So that's just putting themselves in danger if they did that. So I don't think that they make those first moves like that. I think they try to give us many warnings to get out of their space if they feel like we're invading.
Yes.
So, and I'm thankful for those warnings. I've had rocks thrown and, you know, they never try to hit us ever. You know, it's always within 3 feet, but, you know, it's very clear. Don't walk this way.
Yeah. We had a warning today. We were walking in Torrey State Park that is famous for Stacy Brown's thermal footage in 2012. In May, him and his father recorded that best thermal footage that it was on Finding Bigfoot, and they recreated it. And Cliff estimated to be like 8'5". But yeah, it's in Torrey State Park down here in Florida, right down the stream from Garden of Eden. So it's sacred soil right there. And there's been a lot of sightings. We went there like 2 weeks ago and talked to the ranger, and we heard something wading through the creek. And it was like one of the most terrifying experiences. And I have it on GoPro and it's on my YouTube. The sound is kind of crappy because it was raining and it's a GoPro, but you could feel the moments and you could see my head moving. But today we took a different path and we were walking through the deep backwoods and we crossed this little bridge that was broken. So we were past the point of no return, basically. And we got in this really deep thicket and we turned this bend and this huge, I'd say 20 to 30 pound, like boulder or huge rock just got thrown probably like 20 yards behind us. And we just heard one loud thump. And then Ronnie, the guy I was hiking with, he heard a rock skid off the tree, like something was being thrown shortly after. And we were very calm and just went out. We knew we had so much to go that I was scared to address that it was Bigfoot. We turned around and were like, did you hear that? But we didn't have to say out loud what it was. We just knew we had to get out. And now looking back, I think that was a thicket or like a big nest of theirs. And I know I will be able to go right back there because there was a bench, 50 yards after, but it was thrilling.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to have to go to our break, so we'll be back in just a couple minutes. Stay tuned, everyone. And there we go. We're on break. So we're still recording. We're still recording the video. And yeah. So I think when we come back from the break, I'm going to ask you more about your expeditions and, you know, your hikes and the things that you've encountered and things like that.
Yes. I'm excited to hear about that.
You have some pictures. I might as well show them now that we're on break. We'll show it for the video. This is a picture of the giant bone.
Oh, wow.
There's a video on my YouTube, and we're handling it. And then this is a skunk ape swamp face. That's what we call it.
Oops.
And
Oops.
that's from a back cam that we zoomed in, kind of Scott Carpenter style. He's a big inspiration. And then this is a carcass that I took a picture of in the Honey Island Swamp, which is famous for Rougarou and Bigfoot. And then this is the Louisiana tree peaker, which I took the same exact day, just in the woods behind it. And that's zoomed in. And I see an eye and then a dark face behind. And I had those recently on Mr. Beast interview or Beast TV interview. And it was awesome having them like high definition and breaking them down. And they put different filters on them. And it was just so cool. And I'm always like Long Island Bigfoot because he's like friends with a bunch of Bigfoot and gets pictures of
Hang on.
magic.
We got to listen for Sarge. He said something.
There we go.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is the Journey Radio Show, and hey, we're the She-Squatchers. Won't you check us out online at She-Squatchers.com? And from there, you can go and find everything you want to about us. Our email address is in the Contact Us section. And won't you come over also to YouTube and subscribe to our channel because we're still in that YouTube race and we want to win. So please come, everyone, if you haven't subscribed, please come over and do that right now. Oh, we're immediately after the show, but don't forget. And we are also on Facebook and Instagram, so please come and like and follow us there for all of our up-to-date what's going on. I'm going to give you a quick list of what we've got going on. In June, we will be at the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference in the state of Virginia. July, we've got the Para-Unity Conference in Duluth, Minnesota, which will be July 8th, 9th, and 10th. We're in the talks since last night about going to the Michigan Bigfoot Conference, which is the following weekend, the 17th of July. Then we're heading to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the following weekend. I think that's the 24th for the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. And we'll be there with all those other really big name folks. So that'll be really cool. So hopefully, we've got some of our followers that are coming to various ones, like traveling from Minnesota all the way down to Tennessee just to come hang out with us down there, which I think is so cool.
That is very cool.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's see. Then in October, we're going to be at the Yakima Valley Bigfoot Con in Toppenish, Washington. And if they still have it, we'll be at the Sasquatch Summit in Ocean Shores, Washington in November. So we haven't heard if they're still going to have it yet or not. So that's a maybe. We're not sure yet. Anyway, so back to the show. We've got Connor Flynn with us, and he's down in Florida, and he's going to start telling us a little bit about his expeditions, the things that they've encountered and found in regards to Bigfoot and other cryptids. So take it away, Connor. What have you experienced down there?
Yes, we've had footprints. We've had pictures of tree bends. We've had trees crash down on us to warn us to get out of the woods. I recorded a whoop the other day. I say the other day, but a couple months ago at Bellamy Bridge, which is one of the most haunted locations here in the Panhandle. This woman, Elizabeth Bellamy, died on her wedding day. It supposedly caught on fire and ran into the river trying to go put the fire out, and she died. And she told her husband, "I'll forever be with you." So we always go out on eclipses and Halloween and fun nights like that, Friday the 13th, and try to stir up the energy. And we bring candles out there and our EMF detector and dowsing rods, try to feel what's out there. And I got it recorded when we were just talking about the swamp thing of all people, but it was from long away. And then like 20 minutes after was the tree crashing down. My GoPro burned out, of course, before that, of course, electromagnetic interference. And then I've gotten tons of pictures of strange prints over at Ocheezy Landing. My mom and I were fishing, and I got like pictures of 12 different prints, about 6-7 inches wide, 13 inches long. So they weren't huge, wide, very long tracks. They were more wide, and that's what they say about the two-egg stump jumper and the Ocheezy Pond Wildman and Florida skunk ape, that they're a little smaller than the Pacific Northwest Bigfoot, because they get a little bit bigger and meatier when they have to survive the snow in the winters and have to stock up for the winter. Down here, it's Florida life. They're sweating just as much as us, and they have to put the mud on themselves to cover up from the mozzies, the mosquitoes. They're just killer out here. So it's wild times. But there's a story, the Ocheezy Pond Wildman, that one was captured in the 1800s and was taken to the hospital here in Chattahoochee, and it lived there for 3 years, and then they buried it, and then they built a building, of course, on top of it. But 2 Egg TV has done a great job on reporting about it. But the Ocheezy Pond kind of leaks into the Chipola River and the Apalachicola River. So there's just a convergence of all these waterways, and of course, water brings deer, which bring predator. So it's just a convergence of monsters and prey, and then us in the swamp trying to stir the energy up. So it's a plethora of just experiences. If we're not looking out for the Bigfoot, then we're looking out for the giant alligators. And then when we're over at the Merritt Mill Pond, there's a movie called Cobrigator that was filmed there, and the Shark and Salt Women's Prison Massacre. And there's a couple ties to some reality, real deaths, because there's a bunch of cave divers that have went missing and died right in that pond. So we go kayaking there and try to check out the above ground caves that go underground, of course, but we're not spelunking or going down with dive kits. I do want to get my license and do lessons for that, because I'm really into deep sea fishing and diving. I'm just trying to do it all. I'm a fossil hunter. I'm a big game fisherman. I'm trying to find what other people are not. I'm the guys in Jaws that they cry to kill the shark that killed the city. So it's a wild journey, but yeah, footprints, crazy noises. Today, I didn't have any video running while we were down there, but it would have been crazy to have that thump, because it was loud and clear. And I actually tried turning on voice recorder on my phone, and the app just kept dying. I'm getting low on my SD card, so it might be about maybe with that. But again, the interference, the electric interference, it's very simple. No wonder they can see trail cams, because the huge UV cone, lights up the whole forest for them, of course. So, we're not fooling anybody trying to sneak things and put gifts anywhere. I like doing the gifting, and I do the calls from safe spots. But in the Pascagoula, Mississippi, I was joking with my buddies. I actually pooped my pants when I was adventuring. I had such a bad stomach ache that when I jumped across after doing some Bigfoot calls, I had an accident. And it was crazy. And I wrote about it in my book. And I was really hesitant about talking about it at first. And the people I was with still don't even know about it. So I did a good job of hiding it. And I actually took my boxers off and wiped, and then I had something bluff charge me. So something had their eyes on me this whole time. And it was on the Pascagoula River, where the 2 men were abducted by aliens in the 70s. And it's right in Rougarou territory, right by Louisiana. It was a crazy weekend. We just got back from the Honey Island Swamp, and we were at this gator ranch. It was crazy. And I have some videos from that day, and literally I could tell you when my pants were a little dirty, in the videos. It was funny, but they have these abilities that can enter your body. So you have to be respectful out there. And I let my guard down trying to rile my buddy up for a little bit. And then boom, that was the end of me. And say you're at a big expedition and you have a problem like that, a rash, a bacteria infection, you could be dead within 12 hours, So this stuff's no joke. Luckily, I was able to go home and shower, or go back to the hotel and shower. But sometimes it gets dirty in my material. But I've had encounters in my dreams as well, because once you get close to these beings, they can access other realms around you. And I have nightmares, running through the woods and going into water and hiding underwater under them. And then another one, my mom wanted to separate from the group, and then my grandpa and I saw this black-faced being, and it looked so much like a person, and all I could do was just scream. That was like my only defense, was just like to scream as loud as I could and try to draw it back or something. And it's wild, and people have to access these other realms. And I'm really into like potions, Hawaiian baby wood rose seeds. You can grind them up and make teas, just like the Native Americans did, just like the Australians did, just like the Incas, the Mayans. You have to enter these realms and these frequencies, and I'm the guy to do it. I'm drinking potions and camping and doing strange stuff, and we have to think outside the box because everybody else is doing mostly the same stuff. So
let me ask you a quick question, because I know you are so awesome at speaking. I just love listening to everything. But I need to know, you mentioned earlier that you've been doing this stuff since you've been younger, but when did the passion come about? When did you start getting that passion that you're like literally explaining to us right now?
Yeah, it's always been a part of me. I was always a loudmouth. I made music, and I was always too smart for everything. I got called a smart butt a lot. And, my coaches and my teachers, I was a straight A student. But I don't know, I pushed the wrong buttons because I wouldn't let lazy things get past. And most society is just trying to push laziness and get past these kids. The youth is bright, so let's not, break down their light. But the passion has always been here, but it just more and more, once I moved to Florida, it was just like, boom, new life. And then when I was with the punk rock musical, living on the couch, experiencing strange stuff and being thrown to the wolves, it's like, wow, if I can live on the road and be homeless, then what can really anybody say to anything? I'm doing the research. I'm digging in books and talking to people on the ground. So I can't let a 10%er talk to a 70%er. I'm getting there. So it's inside of me. And I was part of this high school newspaper in high school, and I was an editor, sports editor, because I was a mixed martial arts writer, and I wrote for a bunch of magazines and other websites and stuff. And I covered a bunch of fights as a high schooler. And then we wrote for our high school paper, and the guy who I wrote with, FP Flynn Pouts, he was a great writer too. He mentioned alcohol in an article, and they tried to expel me because they were saying that I was trying to promote underage drinking, when Danny just mentioned alcohol as the crowd was getting rowdy. And that had a lot to do with the fights, because, the coroner got involved. He was reporting, and then they tried to expel me for letting that be published. So that was my first brush with censorship. So I'm just running full speed, and people look at me like I'm a long-haired goofball. So I wrote a few books. It's like, okay, now what? What's the next thing you want me to do? The degree? You want me to do the Harvard online classes? It's like, man, get out here in the forest if you're going to talk about the forest. So it's always been inside of me, and it's inside my blood. My aunt saw a banshee in Ireland and was scorned for it, 100 years ago. So I'm doing this for her, and I'm glad being I love being the crazy guy, because I could just flip people's reality real quick with a Bible verse. It's like, oh, what do you think about the four corners of earth? Or, it took shape like clay under a seal. People just lose their minds. And so do I. We are such caught in an illusion that it hurts. It hurts every day to see the madness outside. So now I have to be loud and proud, because if not, I'm going to have a muzzle on my mouth in a couple months. So we have to voice our opinion. I'll gladly be that guy. And I'm trying to just tell stories of people and places,
Yeah, speaking of, oh, sorry, Jen, I was just interested in the banshee story. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I want to hear about the banshee. I wanted to hear if you've encountered any little people, too.
I've definitely encountered some strange things, especially taking like mushrooms and stuff in the forest. You see weird glimmers and fae all over the place. And once you know they're out there, they're out there. They're just one with me. And of course, in my dreams too, I've had sleep paralysis that they've entered on my chest. And I've seen a rake before. The rake is based on the creepypasta, but I call them a crawler, a prowler, with something white with translucent skin. And that was up in Ohio by this thing called a witch's stone. So again, convergence of sacred places, trauma happens here, sacrifice, weird meditation. It will bring these creatures residually. forever. So all we have to do is find history, and it will repeat. But in Ireland, my aunt, she was a young girl, and they lived in a small village, and she saw this old woman sitting in front of her neighbor's house combing her hair. It was a white hair, she looked frail. And then and she thought that was weird. And she told her mom, no one knew what she was talking about. Thought she was lying. The next day, her neighbor died, so that was foreshadowing. It was a banshee, pretty much bringing her to heaven or leading her to her death, maybe just looking over her last day. And they say banshees are with the Fae as well. And just to hear that she's been scorned and people thought she was crazy, and my cousins from over there always said that she would tell them when they drove past and people would laugh, and it's just like, oh my gosh. So one of the first stories in my Letters from Family and Friends chapter, I have her story there just to honor her and just to paint a better picture of who I am, because we are our roots, and it goes so much deeper than our immigrant ancestors. It's true earthlings, our bloodline was around since the beginning. Our DNA is older than Earth. So where do we come from? Like, come on.
So what are you thinking? Do you think what's older, humans or Bigfoot? Then if human DNA is just catching you there.
No, it works both ways. It's either the Bigfoot is the original Earthling brought down, descended, and then the aliens or the gods from the sky, they're like, okay, we need someone that can be a little bit more hands-on. So they mixed their DNA with the Sasquatch DNA and created us. Or, the other hand, we were the original creation, and then they're like, oh, we need some workers to build the pyramids, to build the mounds, to dig all out the subterranean caverns that were going to wait out the apocalypse for 13,000 years, like the Thetas. The people that are on that, they'll know. But there's subterranean caverns under our feet, Middle Earth. There's inner suns. Where did Hitler go? Where did Abraham Lincoln go? What's the Colorado Denver airport hiding? There's cities under our feet with millions of people. There are like 100,000 people went into the Grand Canyon caverns from Egypt. It started their own civilization underneath our feet. So like the movie City of Ember, the Disney movie, I watched that as a documentary. Walt Disney was on the voyage where they found the ice wall and the dome above it. So every Disney movie has the truth. You watch the star go above the kingdom, that just shows the dome. It's so crazy. And then it goes into like the movie Frozen, that is a conspiracy. So if you type up Walt Disney Frozen, Elsa will pop up, not, the actual Frozen guy anymore. So it's so funny that our fairy tales, really, they're fairy tales. Fairies, like, come on. But they don't look like Tinkerbell. It's dark entities most of the time. So the stuff surrounds us. We spell words. We're all magicians, It's crazy. People are scared of witches and Wiccas, and they put this dark energy on us. But no, we all are clairvoyant. We all have that energy. We're all under the dome in the source, pulling from the infinite energy. What Tesla was on. Was Tesla even a real guy?
I agree that we're all have those abilities, and I think Dr. Clive Baxter from The Secret Life of Plants in the late 1960s. If you've watched any of his YouTube videos, you really should. Have not seen that. And he discovered in his experiments, and he's the guy who invented the polygraph machine, the lie detector test for the CIA. So he's a pretty respectable guy. And you can see his original experiments on YouTube. Dr. Clive Baxter, Secret Life of Plants, look up Panic in the Cabbages, where he's actually hooking up these polygraph machines to plants and testing them. And when doing so, he discovered that they were, in a sense, empathic. And they were sensing what was happening to other plants and other life forms in the general vicinity, sometimes not even in the same room. And so it was really quite fascinating stuff. And so I think what he's proven in those experiments is that at the most basic level of existence, there's consciousness, and there is a sensing of everything else, that oneness that everything exists in, that maybe humans have become a little disconnected from. But I think we're in this great awakening where more and more people are becoming more aware of that. They are claiming to be empathic. to be empaths. And I think that's just the beginning, the tip of the iceberg of what is possible. But it's so overwhelming to them when they start to feel it or sense those things that they're just blown away by it. But it really is just the tip of the iceberg. And sometimes they just kind of get stuck at that level. But there is so much more to sense and so much more to become aware of. And I just encourage people to continue moving forward and being open, because I'm part Native American, and the teachings are that we are interdependent, interrelated, and interconnected with all things, and all things here on Earth and everywhere in the universe. And so everything is interrelated, interdependent, and interconnected. So when you become more and more aware of that, there is more peace to that type of awareness, that consciousness that comes with that. I think that's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like the plants having the feeling, we go out into nature, we become one with them, all connects. That's wild. You know, we become with their energy and they can feel each other. No wonder it's like becoming one with nature. Then think about the fallen ones, the ancient ones, you know, the ones who've been here for a while. If they can really soak in with the forest, they can feel everything. So yes, humans are capable of extraordinary things and phenomenon, and of course these creatures are. You know, we can create worlds in our dreams, in our sleep. It's so energy. Like, it doesn't take any energy. It's us. That just shows we are like the strongest battery in the system. 100%.
Oh, now you're in the Matrix.
Yeah. I love the Matrix. Matrix 4 is coming out soon. I'm really excited, and I have all the Matrix movies, and I've done a bunch of Matrix podcasts. I'm really into it. I'm all about breaking free from the Matrix. I think we're in something a lot more beautiful than the Matrix, though, because that's like a computer system. I think we're in a perfect created, beautiful system made. We're on the back of a turtle, you know, where we need to be. We're given everything we need to. I know a lot of people suffer in this world, but there's some kind of balance to it. And I wish there was no suffering, but we just have to push forward, and only time will tell.
I can't believe there's another Matrix coming out. I'm sorry, that blew my mind.
I didn't know that either. I was like, really?
Yeah, it's about to be awesome. Trinity, Morpheus. I think Michael B. Jordan is going to be in it. So it's
Trinity's alive?
Yeah. She lives forever when love is involved, you know?
Oh, that's so true. Love fixes everything. I forgot. I'm kidding.
Well, I'm excited to see that. When does it come out?
I don't know. It's getting pushed back, of course, because of the pandemic. But I'm very interested in it, and it's gonna be cool just because Neo is gonna be like a guide, you know. So it's not just gonna be about Keanu Reeves anymore. It's gonna be bigger. So I'm excited to see where it blows up into, and you know, might get really real and might show up on all of our TVs. You know, they're gonna have these interactive movies that interact with our minds and bodies here soon. So get ready, get your popcorn ready.
Well, it feels like the phones are already listening to us. You mentioned something and all of a sudden we get a commercial about it. It's like, oh. So sometimes I like to put my phone in another room and walk away.
I hate to say it, but anything with a light, they can listen, they can look, they can control you. They can make it blink so many times they can make you do whatever you want. It's crazy, you know, MK Ultra and special abilities, telekinesis, you know, it's all documented. It's all the movies that are about it are true, you know. Midnight Special.
Oh man. Oh, I want to sing so bad, but I won't. You know, it's
singing.
I won't sing, but that was a perfect opportunity to jump in there for that.
Yes, Jenna thinks in song. Her thoughts happen in song.
They
it's
do.
really hard for her to talk.
Man, awesome. I'm still trying to get that.
And the vibes come out, you know. I like it.
You know, and that's the thing. In this lifetime, we have one shot. The best thing we can do is be ourselves, because if you're wasting this whole time being someone that you're not, what are you doing here? Why are you here? You got to find yourself. You've got to move forward. And if it's truth you seek, then find it. Don't turn on the TV and hope that it's there.
Yeah, don't worship these false prophets. But check out this movie coming out in July, because I'm in it. It's called Zillafoot. And I actually play like myself. I'm a cryptid research officer, and I warned the military about this impending doom about a half Godzilla, half Bigfoot. And one of the military guys, they say, "I know you're exactly right, man, but you still gotta go." And they escort me out of there, and it's really funny. And the trailer's on YouTube, and it comes out on Blu-ray in July.
What is it called? I have to watch it now.
Zillafoot. And
Zillafoot.
the trailer. Yep. And it's very cool story. It was originally made in like 2015, and now they're reshooting and extending some parts. And they reached out to my buddy Jack McClellan. He's from Tallahassee, and he made a movie called Bridges. It's a Bigfoot documentary with the Bridges family, the Florida Bigfoot family that had that grease smear on their window. And he came out to my comic book store one day, and we hit it off. And ever since then, he wanted me on camera, and then I just wanted to link up Bigfoot wise with him. And we made Zillafoot, and now we're making a Dogman movie here in a couple weeks.
So you're actually adding actor to your list of abilities. Okay, you are an amazing man. That's a lot of abilities and a lot of things you're into.
Yeah, but he's acting himself.
Yeah, but it's still acting, baby. It's still acting.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I was in I was in a church movie when I was in Lakeland too. I ran in a 5K race, and I was in a church scene that I had to keep looking back and forth because it was the climax. So I had to look forward and backward and act surprised. So I've done my fair share on the screen. I just love creating. So I'm always like sticking my neck out there, to do this kind of stuff, and most of it doesn't pay, but it pays in residual fun. I made a Pokemon video 7 years ago, and I still show it every day at the game store, telling people, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in the Gyarados shirt. So I just love talking about it, being about it, and that's what my books have done for me. They've opened up doors to conversations like this, and I'm going to Infinity Con next month in Tallahassee, and it's gonna be my first live event, and I'm gonna get to meet fans. It's gonna be really cool. I'm gonna sell books, and we're gonna give away postcards of my pictures I've taken, and it's gonna be cool. Hopefully I'll interview some cool people. Maybe we'll dress up in the Bigfoot suit and throw bananas at people. Who knows?
Oh, but or pretend rocks. Those. Oh my gosh, you could get those. What kind of that? What's that stuff you can carve into like shapes?
Oh, Jenna.
I have a whole idea. I'm sorry.
We're coming towards the end of the show, so I want to give him an opportunity to tell people how they can find his books, where they are, if they're online to purchase, and how to contact him. But before that, I'm going to say that Connor contacted us. He watches our YouTube channel videos, and he contacted us there by commenting on a video saying he wanted to be on the show, and so here he is. Ask. People.
That's what you have to do. Yeah, you have to. And I know that like-minded people, it's just a conversation. It's not like I'm not writing into the post office. It's just like, hey, you want to chat tonight? And it will be history, and it's not even like big history. It's what our creation can be. And like I said, we can never recreate this. And my energy today, and your energy today, and your guys' past and my path, it all comes together, and it could only create this. And viewers get to learn from it and experience it.
All right, Connor, tell people where they can find your stuff, because you got less than a minute left.
It's on Amazon. Erie Swamps, Road Trip to Eden by Connor Flynn. My second one is Big Brother Bigfoot. That one is awesome. It's about 16 Bigfoot creatures that I've researched across America and Canada and my experiences. And then Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner is my third one. And I'm about to release about like 4 more in the next few months. So just be on the lookout for it. Tune into Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm a creator. Check out the music videos. I'm about it. If you guys have cool stories, send them through. Bigfoot Anonymous, Bigfoot Anon. I'm trying to, make this world a better place, but that starts with the truth and eliminating evil. And there's a lot of evil out there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show, Connor. It's flown by, and we have to say goodnight to you, and thank you. Thanks again for coming on the show and reaching out to us. Good night, everyone.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Thanks, Connor. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome. Let me
Styrofoam. Styrofoam